I cannot say that Transnet's role is extremely important, but it is the backbone of the transport infrastructure. And for many years, people have been complaining that the fact that our trains are not running is actually pulling back economic growth. And it is something that we're actively trying to fix. We are trying to contribute our little, the little that we can contribute. I was saying the other day that I see Transnet as a trench in which I am, where we need to make sure that our trench is clean and that from our trench we do our best to fight. Maybe just in a battle or a series of battles, but not the whole war. Transnet is not going to win the war, but at least if we can make sure that where we are, the small contribution that we can make is a positive one. Well, the fact that we have a maintenance backlog as well as an infrastructure investment backlog of about 40 years. Until 3 years ago, there had not been any significant investments in rail, not even in the ports. Our locomotive fleet has an average age of 32 years. We have locomotives that are still running that are 48 years old, some of them, that break down very often. And so as we are building and are buying new locomotives, in the intervening period, we have to deal with the maintenance as well as the fixing of these locomotives that break down. We run the longest train in the world from Sishen to Saldanha. And this train is 4 kilometers long. 2 weeks ago, it derailed because of the age of the equipment. And so you can imagine what happens when a 4 kilometer long train full of iron ore derails. It blocks the whole system for about 3 to 4 weeks just to clear it and to get the system running again. So those are some of the challenges that we encounter. But we are not complaining. We will get through them. We will deploy the new locomotives in the next 3 years. 1,000 locomotives will be deployed in the next 3 years. We are busy building these locomotives. We are an original equipment manufacturer for wagons. We are building 22,000 wagons over the next 5 years, brand new wagons at Transnet, with our own hands, with South African labor, South African steel, South African parts. And we will achieve these goals. It is goals that we have set ourselves. I was saying the other day, some investors were asking, so you have a 300 billion program over 7 years. Do you think you'll be able to spend 300 billion over 7 years? I said, I don't know, but that's what I want to do. But even if we don't, and we only spend 250 or 200, I will not be ashamed of anything, because at least we tried. We tried, and in any way, there's nobody who has spent 200 billion on capital investment and rail in a 7-year period in this country before. The private sector has a critical role to play. I mean, this whole infrastructure is being designed to actually oil the private sector machine, because we carry the coal, the iron ore, the magnetite, the copper, for the private sector mines. We carry the containers that are full of manufactured goods for the private sector. One of the things that we are doing over the period is to say that the private sector must partner with us by way of investing in Transnet. We issue bonds every week, 250 million every fortnight, Transnet bonds that need to be bought, and that is part of the capital that we're raising to finance the 300 billion. We issue bonds in the international capital markets. We issue bonds privately with multilateral as well as bilaterally. Our biggest problem sometimes is that when we arrive there to ask for money, to say that this continent is going forward, this country is going forward, we find that we have shot ourselves in the foot, that people have gone out there and said, look, this thing's going to the dogs, which I'm afraid is not true.